Hello. So, 4 ways that I plan on being a culturally competent counselor, both in and out of this course, is watching and reading the course material. I think it was really helpful to do that. Um, Really opened my eyes to a lot of different, maybe definitions that I didn't know in their entirety, or, historical events I didn't know about, or the TED Talk was also really informative. So, there was just a lot that I was kind of able to unravel there. And it was really helpful in my own knowledge of everything and being a culturally competent person. Also, listening to my peers, I think the video format is going to be really helpful in giving us kind of the platform to talk to one another and discuss some maybe not traditionally talked about things. So I think that would really help in this course. And then outside of the course, talking to those around me and listening to those around me, mainly listening. I have friends from different cultures and different sexual orientations, and I think that, listening to their experiences would really help me to fully understand them as a person and how their culture does, shape them and who they are today. And then with that, continued education, because it's not their job to educate me on anything. So that's really my job. I would want to really explore something if I didn't understand it, or especially in the future, meeting with a client, maybe I don't know too much about their specific culture or their identity, educating myself prior to, fully starting to work with them so I could better understand them and I could be present and supportive in that environment. I think that would really help as well. So those are my 4 ways. And then specific challenges I might encounter, I think really just confronting my own implicit bias. I think it's really hard for me to recognize when I have implicit bias, because it's just always been kind of the standard of the people I surround myself with and my family and everything like that. And obviously nobody is considered themselves to be a racist person around me, nor have they, exhibited any racist stuff, but I don't know. It's hard for me to recognize when I do have a bias, or maybe it's not inherently bad or it's not out of a bad place, but it could be harmful to the person. I think that's important to recognize as well. So that would maybe be a challenge for me, is just first and foremost recognizing them. But yeah, working on my own biases, educate myself, do my own research, continued education programs. You have to educate yourself. You cannot rely on other people to educate you. You have to make sure that you're educated yourself. So that's what my philosophy would be in that situation. And then examining my own cultural identity, I think, especially on my dad's side, there's just a bunch of stuff. There's just a bunch of, European whatever. My mom's side is mainly Italian. My grandparents were immigrants from Italy. So really making sure that I maintain close ties with my mom's side of the family. I always have. So really upholding the traditions that we normally do. I know Italian, it's not like crazy traditions or anything like that. So, but they are important to me and they do mean a lot to me. And yeah, so Italian. And I am an oldest daughter. I talked about that a lot last semester, but I love being an oldest daughter, and I think a lot of the Adlerian, outlook on it's really interesting. So I keep that near and dear. I love that. And working with clients, I think, sorry, but in working with clients, I would just make sure that specific values that I hold near and dear, like specific values tied in with being an oldest daughter or within, the Italian culture, I think would just help me be more myself in a clinical setting. Especially working with clients, I think it's so important to be yourself. Like, I wouldn't want to put on a facade of somebody that I'm not. I want to be myself. And I think specific aspects of my culture will show within my personality. I think I do a good job of that anyway. So I would just be myself. And this week, I really liked hearing about cultural trainings from the TED Talk. I think, you don't really think about that too often. I think it's something that you just kind of do, and then you're like, okay, that's done. And you don't pay too much attention to it, like she said. And I think that's probably more harmful, because now I've left and I've learned nothing, and I've been challenged zero. So what did I gain? I got a certificate saying that I did a culturally competent training. And I think that's really counterintuitive. And I think that really opened my eyes to, like, especially she talked about, sorry, I'm going to ramble. She talked about how one training showed police brutality to a bunch of young children. So you're kind of inherently emphasizing that fear of the police and emphasizing that, this is the only thing that matters when we're talking about cultural competency, and it's not. And you're scaring a bunch of kids, and I think that's awful. So, yeah, that really stood out to me. I learned a lot from that, and I did feel challenged by it, because it did challenge my original line of thinking of stupid training, get paid for it, and then go home. But it's more than that. So, yeah. Thank you.